Welcome to our presentation on used car buying. We will give you all the tools to find the right deal on a used car. Buying a car that is not new and not sold by a manufacturer's dealer can be a great financial decision. As you may know, a vehicle's value depreciates the moment it is driven off the lot. The benefits of buying a new car, though, include financing deals and, most importantly, federal and state warranties, such as lemon laws, which can give you a peace of mind for a period of time. However, if you can't qualify for financing to buy a new car, or you want a better deal than a new car, you can find a good used car to fit your transportation needs and your pocketbook if you use all the right tools. So, this program covers a lot of road to get you there. To be a comprehensive program, we will highlight all the things you should consider when buying a used car. However, the most important thing to remember at all times: go slow. Buying a car is a big transaction, not only because of the money and the impact it can have on your budget, but because having a working car is almost a necessity in today's world. The first thing to do is have a plan. What kind of car do you need? Consider what you will be using the vehicle for. Driving around the family? Driving to and from work? Will you do long distance traveling? I once saw this commercial where a man shook hands with a dealer and proudly drove away in his red Corvette. But when he turned into the driveway, his wife and two kids were standing there, and his wife was not happy. "You can't have a Corvette with two children," she said. That commercial was about a dealer which offered a return policy. It is important to note that a dealer does not have to give you a return policy in many states. In Tennessee, if you buy a car as is, this means you own it when you drive it off the lot. If there is a return policy or even a warranty you can purchase, be sure you understand what it is and how much you are paying for it. I suggest getting at least a short-term warranty to avoid unknown major problems with a used car. I highly recommend having your financing worked out before you go shopping, and I suggest you try at least two, but maybe three different sources of financial options, such as a local bank, a credit union, or even online banking. By working that out beforehand, you know what you can afford. Then, the only thing you have to negotiate with the dealer is the sales price and add-ons. We will talk about that later. You will get a better financing deal if you work it out beforehand. The buy here, pay here dealers, which may be the last hope for some people, offer the worst financing. Typically, the down payment they offer you is the total amount they paid for the car. So the financing or payments you make to them after is just profit. Also, remember that getting out of a bad financing deal is a major headache. And a car repossession on your credit is just as bad as a foreclosure on a home. That's why it is a major consumer transaction, so do your research. Finally, before you go, set aside several hours and even plan to walk away, even if you find a car you like. You may need time to research the vehicle, any recalls or other complaints about that model, and its value. No matter what, don't be rushed into a decision. Remember, go slow and always take a test drive. Check out this video from the Federal Trade Commission on financing options.
You know what kind of car you want, and you know what you can spend. But don't head to the dealer just yet. Before you shop for a car, shop for financing. Financing a car means you pay it off over time. But you don't have to get that financing through a dealer. Check with banks, credit unions, and finance companies first. Then take your best financing offer with you to the dealers. You can still negotiate and see if the dealer makes a better offer. But if not, you can stick with the financing you already have. If a dealer isn't honest when it comes to financing a car, let the FTC know. Want to know more? Visit ftc.gov/cars.
Check out this other video from the Federal Trade Commission on used car vehicle research.
You need a car. Where do you start? Here? Actually, the best place to start researching used cars is online, so you know exactly what you want and what you can afford. The more you know going in, the better you'll feel driving out. At the dealers, there are a few other things to know. Dealers have to put a buyer's guide on every used car. The buyer's guide will tell you if a car has a warranty or is being sold as is. But that's not all you need to know. Ask the dealer to run a car's vehicle history report or get a copy yourself, so you know where the car has been. Ask to get the car inspected by an independent mechanic and check to see if there are any recalls on the car. It'll all help avoid trouble down the road. You have a right to know the facts about the car you buy. If a dealer isn't honest, let the FTC know. Want to know more? Visit ftc.gov/cars.
I would like to introduce to you all to what I call the Four Wheels approach. We want you to think about all these things when buying a car. How to inspect a vehicle, how to negotiate a deal, how to maintain a vehicle after you buy it, and several other legal considerations which could be important. So you are ready to go start looking. Make sure to use your buying checklist to offer support when doing your research. The first wheel, inspecting the vehicle. Thoroughly inspect the outside and inside before agreeing to take a test drive. After looking around the exterior, don't be afraid to walk away. Don't take the keys and don't take a test drive if the car doesn't pass the test on the outside. Remember, a salesman thinks he's got you if you will just drive the car. If the car looks good on the outside, it's time for more investigation. Here are some helpful videos. Think of these as real tests for whether a car is worth your time.
Buying a car can be exciting, especially if it's your first. But there are a couple of things you need to know before you pay for the car. And there are a lot of vehicles to choose from. Whether it's an SUV, a sports car, a truck, or a sedan, patience and attention to detail will be your best friends. Your first experience with the potential new car is a visual one. Are there any obvious dents? Do the headlights and taillights look straight? Are there any broken lenses? Do the body panels line up smoothly? Are they uneven? Are there any gaps? Is the paint color consistent from panel to panel? Inconsistent paint shades and misaligned body panels are a pretty good indication that the vehicle's probably been involved in an accident. Look behind the wheel wells and under the car for signs of rust or decay. And while you're there, look for any signs of trauma under the car that may have been caused by road debris. Are there any fluids dripping or puddles under the car? Any dents or signs of trauma on the edge of the wheels? Does the tire tread look evenly worn? This is an easy test. Use an upside-down penny to measure and capture the tread depth of all 4 tires. Uneven tread wear is a good indication of steering or suspension problems. Your next experience is both tactile and audible. You're going to want to feel and listen to the vehicle. First, push down on all 4 corners of the car. Is the fender settle back into place or continue to bounce? Suspension travel should be relatively smooth and quiet. Excessive bouncing or squeaks and rattles could indicate there's a problem with suspension. Open the doors a few times. Do they feel and sound solid? If the door drops a little when you open it, the hinges may be worn. Rattling sounds could also indicate problems with the window regulator or the door latch. And all of that is just the exterior of the car. There's much more to look for under the hood and inside. Now that you've done an outside check of the car, it's really important to look under the hood. In fact, at this point, it might be helpful to have a trusted mechanic nearby. From a visual standpoint, is the motor covered in oil or relatively clean? Is it too clean? Freshly washed engine compartments are often trying to hide fluid leaks. Now pull the engine oil dipstick out. Is the oil full? Does it look clean or dirty? In an engine that the oil has been changed on a regular basis, the oil will be rather transparent. Oil that is dark or murky could indicate a certain degree of neglect, especially in the oil change department. And the same holds true for automatic transmission fluid. Visually check the condition of the brake fluid while you're here too. It should be relatively clear and the fluid level should be to the full line. Dirty or low brake fluid indicates poor maintenance and should be evaluated by a mechanic. If the engine is cold, open the radiator cap and check the condition of the coolant. Is the fluid level low? Are there any signs of corrosion or muddy water in the filler neck? Low coolant levels would indicate a leak somewhere, and corrosion or signs of murkiness could also suggest the cooling system has been neglected. If the cooling system has been properly maintained, the coolant should appear clean and there should be no signs of corrosion. If the engine has been running, do not remove the radiator cap. Visually check the condition of the coolant through the reservoir. Take a quick note of the interior. While a torn seat or a hole in the carpet won't leave you stranded on the side of the road, it is an indication of the overall level of care given to the vehicle up to now. Test the operation of side mirrors and windows as well as door locks and check all the interior lighting. Now it's time to walk around the car and check all the lighting. Brake lights and turn signals should be operational before you take a test drive. Now let's turn the key and take note how long it takes for the engine to start. The motor should fire up right away. Long cranking times on startup could indicate fuel pressure problems or poor maintenance. Warning lights such as a red engine oil or a yellow check engine light should illuminate when you start the car first, but go off immediately as the engine starts. If any warning lights remain on, you should also ask a mechanic to evaluate. And while it's still running and idle, check the engine, make sure it runs smoothly. You should hear a steady exhaust noise, no burps or hiccups. Spitting or sputtering sounds at the tailpipe could indicate a cylinder misfire. This could have been caused by a number of things, many of which are easily corrected. It's also a good time to check with your mechanic. Gently rev the engine a few times. Is the throttle responsive, or is there a lag time between the pedal movement and the RPM increase? Slow throttle response could indicate engine problems and issues that should also be evaluated by a mechanic. While the engine is idling, put your foot on the brake. Note the amount of pedal travel and the feel of the pedal when it stops moving. Pedal travel should be minimal. In fact, it should have a firm feel when held. If the pedal feels good and the turn signal and brake lights are operational, it's time for a test drive. Apply the brakes a few times and listen for any scraping or squeaking noises. The car should drive smoothly. Any kind of wobble, squeak, grind, whine, or rattle should be addressed. The steering wheel should also feel smooth with no pull in either direction. Steering wheel pull is often an indication of a suspension problem. And if possible, deliberately run over a few small potholes at a low speed. The suspension should stabilize the vehicle immediately. Any noises, bouncing, or wobbling could indicate problems that need to be evaluated by a mechanic. If everything seems normal at city speed, now's a good time to take it for a run on the highway. Some vehicles can sound fine around town but develop vibrations and noises at highway speeds. Keep in mind that problems with a car don't necessarily have to be deal breakers. Instead, discuss your findings with a mechanic. They should be able to tell whether these items are easily corrected or cause for major concern, and you may be able to use your findings to lower the selling price of the car. In any case, have patience, pay attention to detail, seek professional advice from a trusted mechanic, and your car buying experience should be a pleasant one. Good luck.
Now, if a car you like passes all those tests, and remember, it is best to get a mechanic to look at it if you can before purchasing, you are ready to negotiate. I would like to go through a case study. This was an actual client to show you the specifics of a purchase transaction and what not to do. This client was interested in a 2006 Ford Explorer Limited Edition. It had 100,000 miles on it, and the dealer had it listed for $13,995. What do you think this vehicle is worth? The short answer is, I don't know. You can't know until you do some research on it. Certainly don't take the dealer's word for it. Here's what my client did. No research. She was distracted. She was in a hurry, and she told the dealer how much she could afford per month. Never tell a dealer how much you can afford to pay per month. $240 a month for 1 year is very different from $240 a month for 5 years. It is none of their business what you can afford. Hopefully you did your research and you have your financing worked out, so you can just focus on the sales price. I looked up this vehicle on Kelley's Blue Book. There are other sites you can use, such as Edmunds, NADA.com, or Cars.com. Look at all of them if you can. The more you know, the better. This vehicle had a fair purchase price of $8,692, which is the average of the fair market range of $7,166 to $10,197. Even the suggested retail price from a dealer is $9,515. So $13,995 is just too much. But remember, my client was in a hurry. Let's now look at a retail purchase agreement. First, check out these two videos from the Federal Trade Commission.
You see the ads. Low price, low payments, no interest, zero down, guaranteed trade-in offers or rebates. Sounds good, but when you get to the dealer, there could be a catch. To get the low price you saw advertised, you might have to make a big down payment or pay extra fees. What about that 0% financing? It turns out you might need a sky-high credit score to qualify. And the extra low monthly payment? Maybe to start, but it could balloon into a much bigger payment later on. Learn as much as you can about a dealer's reputation ahead of time. And when it's time to sign a sales contract, make sure the deal and terms you agreed on are in the contract. You're in the driver's seat. If you can't get the advertised deal or one you feel good about, just walk away. If a dealer isn't honest when it comes to its car ads, let the FTC know. Want to know more? Visit ftc.gov/cars. You've negotiated a good price for a car, and you have your financing lined up. But it's not time to drive off into the sunset just yet. First, the dealer may try to sell you add-ons. Add-ons are optional products or services, like rust proofing, fabric protection, gap insurance, or a service contract that cost you extra. One important thing to know about add-ons, it's okay to say no or not right now. It's your money. The more add-ons you get, the more you're going to pay, which might break your budget. Your best move? Read up on add-ons before you even go to a dealer. You might find out that you don't need any add-ons, or you can get them later for a better price. And if there is an add-on you want to buy, don't be afraid to negotiate the price. When you're ready to sign the contract, make sure it only lists the add-ons you've agreed to, at the prices you were quoted. If a dealer isn't honest when it comes to add-on charges, let the FTC know. Want to know more? Visit ftc.gov/cars.
This will look very similar to most agreements you will see, and I want you to see how things can add up quickly. Let's zoom in on the cost. First, she paid full price. Some things you can avoid, like the registration fee in Tennessee, which is $128, and the sales tax, which is around $1,300. But look, she paid $299 for document preparation. I say, if you are going to charge me $299 to prepare documents, knock off $200 off the sales price. Powertrain protection warranty, almost $2,900. This is not a warranty from the seller. This is a warranty contract through a third party. You need to read this before just buying it. $695 for GPS. This is so the dealer knows where you are when you miss a payment, so they can repossess the vehicle. Again, you wouldn't be required to buy this unless you are financing with the dealer. Finally, $795 in gap insurance. Who knows what gap insurance is? Well, it's coverage to pay the difference between the value of your car that insurance will pay if you total it and your loan balance. You should never need gap insurance on a used car. In other words, your loan balance should never be more than what the car is worth. If you need gap coverage, you have gone above the price or paid too much for the vehicle. So look at the total of all of this. From $13 $995 to now $19,540, which includes the down payment of $1,250. How is she going to pay for this at $240 a month? By making 136 payments, that would be 11 years and 4 months in monthly payments. Not if it's twice a month and at 22% interest. The client did not catch this until she had already made one payment and had the car for 2 weeks. The dealer had her sign everything on a computer screen by touching a button. It took her about 5 minutes to run through the purchase agreement. She didn't look closely at the schedule of payments. Looking through the schedule, remember, 2 payments a month, it would take her 100 payments. If she kept this loan and paid it off on schedule, she wouldn't be through paying for this vehicle until 2021, a loan term of 5 years and 7 months. So what are the chances that this vehicle, which is already 10 years old with 100,000 miles on it, is going to last another 5 years and 7 months without major issues? The chances are unlikely. Now, let's compare an okay deal and a good deal to the deal the client actually got. Even if she paid the full asking price but skipped the add-ons because she had her financing options worked out and financed the purchase at an okay rate of 10% over 5 years, she could have reduced the total cost of financing by almost $15,000 and had a one-time monthly payment of $289. If she got a good deal and got the sales price at $10,000 and a good interest rate of, say, 4% over 4 years, she could have cut the total price by a third from the worst case. And her payments could have been $222 monthly, which would have been within her budget. Okay, guys, knowledge is power. Check out this video from the Federal Trade Commission about knowing your rights.
Manuel found a car he liked at a local dealership. The dealer offered financing, so Manuel submitted an application, signed some papers, and took the car home. But a few days later, the finance manager called. Manuel's financing wasn't approved, so he went back to the dealership. They offered him a different financing agreement, but this one had a higher rate and a higher monthly payment. Manuel knew he couldn't afford it, but the dealer started pressuring him. If Manuel didn't sign the new agreement, the dealer said he would have to return the car he bought. And the dealer said Manuel couldn't get his old car back because it was already for sale. Manuel knew his rights. He didn't let the dealer intimidate him. He said he would report the dealer to the Attorney General if they didn't make it right. So, the dealer canceled the contract. Manuel returned the car he bought, and the dealer gave Manuel his old car back. Now Manuel knows to compare offers from several lenders and get his financing before he goes car shopping. If he chooses the dealer financing, he also knows to ask if the deal is final and to get that in writing.
Remember, go slow. Take your time. Do your research. Now, the real moral of this story is that the client was defrauded. They told her repeatedly that her payment would be $240 a month, not $240 twice a month. So Memphis Area Legal Services wrote a letter for her to the dealer and advised her to take the vehicle back with the letter. We called her several weeks later to check on her. She didn't take the vehicle back. She said she needed it for her job and for her kids. The lesson is, it's much tougher to undo a bad situation than it is to avoid it in the first place. Remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We also have a maintenance guide with some useful information about maintaining your vehicle once you have it. I won't repeat it because there's some good advice on there. However, the one thing I will say is to read your owner's manual. You've always heard to change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles. Where did you hear that? On a commercial for oil changes, right? Most owners' manuals have recommended oil changes at higher intervals than that, some as high as 5,000 or 6,000 miles. Also, see what kind of oil the manufacturer recommends or requires. Finally, some legal stuff. No, this is all Tennessee specific. These are common questions we get at Memphis Area Legal Services. I purchased my car as is, and my car is now having problems. What can I do? In Tennessee, a used car dealer is allowed to sell a car as is if it is disclosed in the right way. Normally, a sign on the window, and it's also written in the contract. That means it is your responsibility after you drive it off the lot, even if you are financing the purchase with the dealer. The obligation to make payments is not related at all to the working condition of the car. In fact, most dealers transfer your loan to someone else. To avoid big surprises when purchasing a used car, get at least a 30-day warranty on the major components or a short return period written in the contract. I can't get my car registered. There is something wrong with the title. Without a title, you cannot register or legally drive a car. This situation only really occurs with sales from private parties because dealers are required to collect and pay sales tax. When buying from an individual, always look at the title before agreeing to purchase the vehicle, and always take the title with you when you pay for it. The title should be with the vehicle. When you look at the title, if it says salvage on it, do not pay any money for this vehicle. You cannot register or drive a vehicle with a salvage title in Tennessee. There is a way to have a vehicle with a salvage title. It should say rebuilt on the title if it was done correctly. But that process should happen before anyone sells or repairs the vehicle. If the car looks good and you think you are getting a deal, paying for a car with a salvage title will be a waste of your money. I was injured in an accident and the driver did not have insurance. What can I do? Uninsured motorist coverage is some of the most important insurance you can have. If you are in an accident with a driver who is at fault, who does not have insurance, your uninsured motorist coverage is the only way to ensure you can get money for your damages and injuries. Also, this coverage works as underinsured coverage, meaning that if you get into an accident with a driver who is at fault, who does not have enough insurance to pay for your damages and injuries, your uninsured motorist coverage will kick in when the driver's insurance is exhausted. For an example, you have $100,000 in injuries, but the at-fault driver has only $20,000 in insurance coverage. Your insurance kicks in after the $20,000 is spent. Be sure you have enough of this insurance. Thanks guys for listening. I've now equipped you with the A to Z of used car buying.